This is Ben Meiselas from the MeidasTouch Network. Welcome to the Democratic Governors Virtual Town Hall. We will speak with 4 Democratic governors from across the country about Donald Trump's first 100 days in office. We have with us tonight Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker. We have Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. We have Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey, and we have New York Governor Kathy Hochul. Governor Pritzker, what is your assessment of Trump's first 100 days in office, and what are you doing in response?
100 days in, it's been, a disastrous administration for the American people. You know, the rights of our friends and family, our neighbors, American citizens across this great country are being taken away. And we're seeing that happening to legal residents of the United States. And now we've seen it happen to U.S. citizens. So I'm deeply concerned about what the next 100 days and frankly, the next 1,000 days will be like.
I think for us here in Minnesota, my guidance to my team and to the administration and to folks who care, and that's a lot of folks taking to the streets, we protect the most vulnerable and we protect our gains. We have an opportunity to prove a different way of governing that improves lives, whether that's providing food for children or making sure our folks are covered with health care and have access to free college and some help owning homes. Those are the things that people are looking for. So look, Trump is a disaster, which we knew he would. I think it gives us an opportunity, and what you're seeing is people rising up and showing that there's a better way. It's 100 days of just crap. We've got 500 plus till the midterms, but the work has started. Folks know that, and I think they're looking to see folks stand in the breach and push back.
And I can tell you that this administration is far worse than what we saw with Trump 1. And I think that's evidenced by the past 100 days. I mean, what we've seen here in Massachusetts, firing of doctors and nurses from our VA hospitals, denying veterans care, cuts to our research institutions, which mean cuts to those who are currently right now involved in the process of discovering cures and treatments for ALS and Alzheimer's and cancer. We've had clinical trials with people on them shut down in Massachusetts because of Donald Trump's cuts to NIH. We, as Democratic governors, know how important those investments are in science, in kids, in education, workforce, and the like.
The first 100 days, is that all it's been? It feels like every passing day we're finding another way that Donald Trump is turning the American dream into a nightmare. And I've never seen in all my life, and I've been involved in elective office for 31 years, the way that he is weaponizing the American government against its own people. And let's just dissect some of these things that he's done. I mean, you talk about the tariffs. Who are they helping? Who are the winners in this? Seems to me we're all going to be losers because the only ones getting jobs in this scenario are bankruptcy lawyers. But my concern is that the people of my state are hurting. They're hurting all over America. And we're going to keep going to court and standing up. But the next thing we can do best is to organize, take this anxiety and this anger and turn it into action. Action means we're mobilizing already for 2026. And I'm proud to be leading that effort in the state of New York to help take back the Congress. Because if we can finally get a firewall and stop at least part of this insanity, at least we got hope again. And that's what I'm focused on these days as well.
Now let's move on to the video questions submitted by our audience here at the MeidasTouch Network for this town hall.
Given this moment, what specific steps are you taking, individually and collectively, to safeguard voting rights, protect the independence of states and the courts, and defend civil liberties against federal overreach?
I'll tell you what I'm doing. I'm supporting my attorney general. You know, I know the work that the attorney generals did in Trump 1 was so important. We were successful over 85% of those cases. And this group of AGs is having the same success and right there holding him accountable in the courts. So, you know, I think as a governor, that is something that I'm going to continue to absolutely to support the work of the attorneys general who represent, in our instance, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts in court, bringing cases, holding onto the rule of law and pursuing justice in the courts. You know, I'm going to do all I can within my power, Michael. And this is why governors matter, because we're on the front lines right now. We've got laws that we want to implement and enforce here in our states. We want to make sure that people's rights are protected. And we also do that working with one another, other states, and working with our state AGs.
Trump's implementation and strategy of his tariffs has been unstable. How do you assess the short-term and long-term economic impacts of said tariffs?
We have to mobilize. And people like yourself, do not think you are alone. There are people all over America who want to stand together. And you know where you go to? I guarantee you have a lot of Republican congressional offices in your state, right? Guarantee it. I do as well. We have 7 in New York. Go to their offices. Don't make it easy on them to stand blindly with Donald Trump and not feel the consequences of it. They must know what they've supported in Donald Trump's policies, that they're hurting the people who put them in office. These people are too chicken because they know they're on the wrong side of history here. But get out there with your friends, start writing the letters, start sending the emails, start filling up their phone banks and just blasting them. Because when they start feeling enough pressure that they may not get reelected again, that's the power of the people that started way back when our country rebelled against a dictator, rebelled against a king. We have not labored under a king for over 250 years, and we're not about to stand for that now. We have to rally together, stand together, mobilize, organize, and get out there and vote next year to take back our country, at least the House and the Senate.
We begin to wonder what specific steps our Illinois governor is taking to ensure that our working families in our state can afford housing. Even my rent went up and it's getting unaffordable.
You know, as a state, we've made an enormous amount of progress. We've put a lot of money toward our Department of Housing, and there's so much more that we can do. You heard Governor Healey talk about how the cost of building housing has gone up. So we have real problems when it comes to addressing this outside the state that are affecting the state. But in the state of Illinois, again, we're putting policies in place that are increasing housing. You know, housing is a point of stability in somebody's life that allows, for example, people to survive and thrive. What did I do in Illinois? We put Home Illinois in place to make sure that people who are unhoused can begin the process of moving toward not just shelter, but first temporary housing and then permanent housing. We, in fact, put more money toward that program than we've ever done before.
My question for the governors is how you all are protecting our troops and their mental health and well-being.
Thank you for the service, and thank you for the courage to come on. And look, troops are just not supposed to be partisan, but you can be political. You need to be. It's a responsibility to tell what's going on. And with Donald Trump, I can assure you of this, there is no care for our troops. There never has been, whether it's disrespect of troops or whether it's the inability to fund the things that are most important for the troops. The cuts that Donald Trump is making, 84,000 of our providers at the best healthcare system in the world, which is the VA, a promise that we made to troops that if you serve us, we will serve you in your healthcare, becoming much more difficult to be able to provide all the services that are necessary. And this is not about running a business. The VA trains 70% of the physicians in this country, and it provides care to well over 1 million veterans. And it is the best care in the world. So this is a fight that I'm glad folks are on. Danielle showed courage to speak up, which she has the right to do. But those of us who aren't in the military now have a responsibility to make sure that we're pushing for this issue. So I'm grateful for the question. I'm grateful for the work that's being out there, being done. And we need to call out anytime Donald Trump mentions anything about patriotism, the military, or veterans, he's a damn liar. And he has not delivered on those promises.
So as we wrap up this town hall, we're going to ask the governors to give their closing remarks on Trump's 100 days and where we go from here.
Let's start with it's time to fight. Everybody has to get up, stand up, speak out, show up. And if you can't go somewhere to do that, well, go online and make sure you're speaking up and showing up online. And if you can't do that, how about calling your congressperson, your senator, to make your voice heard? We're going to see a real momentum over the next few months and over the next year. And by November of 2026, we're going to take the Congress back because of everyone listening to this podcast and Americans all across the country.
Look, let's get a couple ground rules first. You can't appease authoritarianism. Call out their crap and just know that that's who they are. Stand proud. on our progressive values. Stand proud that we're feeding children. Stand proud that we care about the environment. We need everybody on the field. We need everybody out there filling a lane and taking a message. Donald Trump understands this. He sucks up so much oxygen. He's the 800-pound gorilla in the room. And the debate that's happening right now, could 100 people defeat a gorilla? I'd like to find out with 100 of us to get out there and fill these lanes. Tell them what we're doing. Show them a difference. Show them the fight that people are ready to lead, and we need to be alongside of them. We're the 100 gorillas, and I'll bet on us against him on this one.
Elected leaders matter. Politicians matter. But everyday Americans matter more. They always have. They always had. And I was reminded of that when I stood in Concord for the 250th celebrations, when that ragtag band of farmers and tradespeople and other colonists faced down a mighty, mighty British army and king. And, at the end of the day, we know what happened there. So continue on with the work. And I look forward to being able to work with many of you and talk with many of you over the coming weeks, months, and years.
You use that anger and channel it into action. That's what I'm calling for from everyone. We'll stand together. We'll get through this. We've been through a lot. And people look back at our time and ask, your grandkids will ask you, what did you do during the Trump administration? You can look at them and say, I fought back and we won.
This was an important and necessary conversation. It was also the #1 stream on all of YouTube this evening. I'm Ben Meiselas. This has been a presentation of the MeidasTouch Network. Shout out to the Meidas Mighty, and thank you, governors.